for joining us on digital for this new rendition of Sports Talk. Every day you can find us here at 7:30 p.m. But we're starting this one off with a bang right here on this beautiful blue turf at the Coliseum. First day of spring practice of the David Bowser, Aaron. How excited are you?
You already know my favorite time of the year is football season. We get it a little bit early, spring practice. It's good just to get out here and get the vibe of what the team is kind of going through as they're starting a new era of football. You mentioned Coach David Bowser, but also just to see the guys on the field working. It's a lot of fun to see maybe what they've been doing in the offseason. Some guys bigger, stronger, faster, and football. I love football, so even though it's March Madness season, we're going to talk some ball.
Yeah, definitely turning over a new leaf here. And Aaron, we have a new slogan this year. I want to make sure I get it right. So the new slogan is grateful, not entitled. We're going to have Coach Bowser join us in a minute. But before that, I want to talk about this slogan. Just hearing that off base, what does that make you think it's about?
To me, it makes me think about what you deserve or what you earn, not just something handed to you, right? Like, just because this team what it was last year and the success they've had doesn't mean it's going to happen again this year. And 2026 is a whole new year, a whole new regime, and you have to go out and earn it, whether that's earning every rep, earning every minute of playing time, or earning a chance to win a conference title. And I think that Coach Bowser wants to instill that in this group, and some of the guys are returning. We got some new guys here. But it's always nice to have a clear message from a head coach and what they want to establish as their culture. And I think Coach Bowser has done that so far.
Yeah, I like the way it feels out here. The weather feels good, but I think you can definitely tell this is a new bunch.
Absolutely. It's a different team. It's a different vibe. And it doesn't necessarily mean bad. It just means different.
No, not at all. Yeah, definitely the vibes are a little bit different. And we're just, everybody's trying to learn everyone's names, find everyone's thing. I heard them say when they were stretching, let's clap together. Let's do things like, just early. It's just early football.
Even we're trying to figure out these players' names, transfers from different teams.
Yeah.
The high schoolers aren't out here yet, so which we'll get to a little bit later as well. But just, again, trying to find an identity, understand what this team is going to be about in 2026. It's kind of refreshing, though, just to have a new start.
I'm so excited to be on somebody's football field. It just feels so good for me to be out here. But just looking at a new head coach, I want to start before we look into the coaches that he brought here. He's returning a lot of guys from the previous staff, starting with the wide receivers coach Ryan, then Kahari Love at tight ends, Elijah Washington at special teams, and then Coach Anthony Kelly at running back. So we have a lot of offensive guys returning as far as coaches go.
I think that bodes well because you can kind of blend in a new offensive coordinator that comes in with some of these returning coaches, and maybe it's a melting of the minds, can kind of put one offensive system into another, and maybe you come up with something unique. So we obviously know the rich history of Coach Anthony Kelly and what he's going to do with the backs and things like that. So I think it's a good mixture of returners and then new coaches as well. And I think it's important to have some of the old culture still here because they know what it was like to win at this particular institution. And now you get some of the new guys that also want to come in and instill their own thing.
Yeah, you talk about a new offensive coordinator, but under center, we have three familiar faces that we saw play last season. Not the starting Isaiah Knowles, but all three of those guys got playing time just because of the way things shook out last season.
Yeah, the injuries obviously a concern. Isaiah was banged up at times, but good experience for these other guys. And we've already seen, the first day of practice coming in, taking reps, something they're familiar with. They're not going to be unfamiliar with being under center or trying to take a snap in a college game or things like that. So I think the experience from last year will definitely bode well for them this year. And we'll get an opportunity, I think, in an open quarterback competition to see who kind of comes out on top. And I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, we got Zayden Bell, Izzy. I always say his name right. Did I say it right?
Yes. We'll just call him Izzy.
And then Jaden Kinney, we saw him coming out of the locker rooms. Although, two of those guys, like you said, were injured last year. But to see them back, that makes me hopeful for sure.
Yeah, and we saw some good things from a lot of them last year. We saw Izzy come in and play well in a big-time spot. We saw Jaden come in and play well in a big-time spot. I think they're in a good position, and who knows what's going to happen with the class that's coming up. I know there's a few high schoolers that are interested in playing quarterback. We'll see if they get their opportunity.
Yeah.
But I think ASU's in a good spot. And if you're sitting behind Isaiah Knowles for a couple of seasons or a season and learning, I think that's a good person to be sitting behind. He was such a leader, and I know that he taught them a lot.
Yeah, for sure. And let's just listen to what some of those guys had to say about this nice quarterback competition we're seeing in early spring practice. First day of spring ball under Coach Bowser. How did it feel to be back on the field?
I'm not back yet, but it does feel good to, just watch them boys back out here, especially from the season we had last year, and really just trying to make sure we do the same thing for this upcoming season.
It feels good. We kind of, same culture, new energy, a lot of flying around. Just feel good to be back in pad, back in helmets.
Y'all talked about the energy from last year. How has that rolled over, especially for the guys who experienced rolled over to this year?
We do have a lot of new players. I feel like rolling it over, we have to bring that energy and show them like what the culture is about and how we operate, so we can make sure that the same thing happens.
You talk about a lot of new guys, but in the quarterback room, it's a lot of the same guys. How does it feel knowing, as far as the returners go, all of y'all have had in-game experience?
That feels great. Like, it's just being able to know, like, the next man is always going to be, you confident in the next man because you've seen him play before.
Yeah, same thing, good. And, everybody having experience, you could piggy off, something he can do that I can't do, he could teach me, vice versa. So it's a strong room. Everybody like each other, unlike other quarterback rooms. So, yeah, I like the room.
What kind of competition does it breed, knowing that all of y'all have played right here on this beautiful blue turf?
It brings a lot of competition because we all, we competing for the same spot. So, it's competition, but outside of the field, it's all love. Like, I love them boys. They're my brothers. Like, but when it's on the field, we teaching each other, we competing against each other, and at the end of the day, it's all love.
With you not still being clear yet, what do you feel like your role is right now for your teammates?
I feel like my role is to understand a new playbook, help my bros out like when they need it, because we all gonna need help when it's new. But I think it's definitely just understanding it, looking out for them, standing back for them at practice and watching the defense, see what the defense do, and teaching them, just what they need to do to make sure we get it done.
There's one guy I didn't recognize. Tell me a little bit about him, his name, where he's from. What y'all are seeing for him so far?
That's JD. He came from Alabama A&M. He's real cool, real calm. He's another good addition to the room. He's a good quarterback. Athletic, and he teaches and he's not scared to talk. So it's a great addition to the room. One quarterback left, another one comes in. That same type of energy, brings the same thing to the table.
Yeah, basically, really just what he said, like everything what he said is actually.
12 full days of spring practice, today obviously being the first. By the time spring practice is over with, what do you want to say that you guys got better on, or what are some goals you have in just this short amount of time before the spring game on April 11th?
I want us to just be able to gel, everything just to be smooth and together, because last year I feel like the reason why we were so good, like we had athletes everywhere, but last year that was a family. Like behind closed doors, like y'all don't even understand. Like that was a family. So I feel like we got to bring that same thing into this new team, get to know everybody, and just gel. And once we could gel, it's routes.
I made to change the question for you, if that's okay. I like what he said about it being a family and y'all gelling together. With the new head coach, how do y'all bring that family atmosphere back to this team?
Really, from the head coach, I feel like he's making us like same atmosphere, everything. He's keeping the same motto, everyone being all in, and I feel like that brings a big part to the team, like knowing like you got to be all in, you got to know your next teammate, you got to get close with them, you got to be friends with them, but then also you got to compete with them too, and compete and bring the dog out. So
yeah, now's the time for that. Well, thank you guys so much. I don't want to keep out too long, but I appreciate it.
Thank you. Y'all have a good time.
All those guys know exactly what it means to be in Albany State Golden Rams. But like we said, we have a new offensive coordinator in Coach Graham Hobbs. He reminds me of one of the Ryan brothers with his old long hair.
Yeah, he came out here, his haircut today, but in the picture he had that long hair. You talk about the Ryan brothers, the difference, he's an offensive guy, so he wants to score points, and we've already seen him get really excited out here. He's chirping at the guys, but he's also praising them when they do well. I like the energy on day one. When you can have a coach that's already trying to instill, hey, it's going to be fun, it's going to be upbeat, but I'm going to get after it when I need to, and he's done that, and I like that.
Yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing from all the coaches, honestly, especially the new coaches. They're coming in like they've been here before. Then we talk about some of the other new guys here today. Christopher Holmes as the associate head coach, offensive line, run game coordinator, Marcus Hilliard at defensive coordinator, Marcus McCleveland at D-line coach, and then Tony McWhite at defensive backs. A lot of new defensive coaches, like we said.
Yeah, Coach Hilliard comes over with a lot of experience, and I think the tradition of the dirty blue defense is something they want to maintain here, and it's not really that hard to do. I think that's what Albany's about, tough grittiness, and so it's already a natural vibe you get when you walk into the building, but playing well up front, making sure those assignments are taken care of, and then a linebacking core that we're going to get to, specifically a young linebacking core that I think they focused on, and then make plays on the back end. I think this team is set up to do another nice run defensively and continue what the tradition has been here.
Well, you kind of answered my question. I was going to ask which one would be harder to uphold, the offense that we've seen the past few years or that dirty blue defense?
I think it's probably twofold. I think if you can get the quality at quarterback, then I think the offense will kind of get going. But we don't know what that quarterback position looks like right now. Are they going to – is somebody going to come out of the blue and take the reins on that? Because no Isaiah anymore. There's nobody just to fall back on. But the defense, I think, is a little bit easier just to maintain. I think it's easy to get guys to get ready for the moment and fly around and tackle the football. And if you have coaches that are energetic and are breeding that into their players, I think that's a little bit easier to maintain. The offensive side of the ball is always more tricky. It's just harder to duplicate than the defense, in my opinion. And I think if we find a quarterback that takes the reins, then it'll help a little bit.
Yeah, and Coach Bowser is definitely a defensive-minded guy. But we'll speak to him after this break about his quarterback situation, defense, and just his first practice as a Golden Ram. Stick with us. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Right now, we're here with the head coach, David Bowser. Coach Bowser, your first spring practice as a Golden Ram. What are you feeling after this practice?
I'm just feeling relieved. I'm so glad to be out in the office and be out here with the guys and the coaches. It just felt so good to have them running around. Good first day. Very pleased with everything, with their effort and communication, so I was really happy with the first day.
Coach, early on in the spring, you're trying to get a feel for your team. The team's trying to get a feel for you. What's that message to those guys as you get out here on the first day?
Oh, just two big things I talked to them is just getting better every day, and the fact that we just want to prepare and do everything we can to win our first ball game. So the biggest thing is just get better every day and prepare to win the first ball game.
I spoke about this before you joined us. The new motto, I love it. Grateful, not entitled. What does that mean?
Okay, so a lot of times what we find out is when you've had success, all of a sudden you think that everybody's just going to lay down for you. So we don't want to be entitled. We want to be grateful. Grateful for the success that we've had. Grateful for the history that this institution has as a school and a football program. But what we got to do when you're grateful, you got to come out here every day and be appreciative of the opportunity to compete and play football and get an education. So grateful just means, hey, when I come out here, I should be enthusiastic about the opportunity.
Day one, the message there at the end of practice, a lot of it is about some of the details, the small things, to try to clean up those things. What do you specifically want to see from this team in those small details to kind of build on that, to make it successful when you get to the regular season?
Yeah, because, one thing about championship teams, they do championship things on and off the field. So it's going to be important, as simple as running on and off the field. Our slogan is we take the field. We also want to make sure that we don't get ourselves in any situations where penalties that don't have to happen can be avoided. The referees have the white box. The coaches got the first gold box. Then we take the second gold box as the players. And when we learn those things, it goes a long way. Parking where you're supposed to park in the parking lot. It's detailed. When I walk, I don't ride over and then run right out to practice. I walk over and I'm looking at everything, making sure afterwards I'm going to go through and I'm going to walk through the locker room. The most simple things. Make sure you hang your stuff up the right way. All the lockers should look the same. And then something that we learned a long time ago, make sure you just flush the toilet. So, it's just little things. So all those details are what champions do. You don't become a champion once you win it. You carry yourself like a champion, and that prepares you to be one.
You talk about the details. I know when you were putting together this staff, you looked at the small details, big details, all in between. But, Coach, I like how vocal your guys are, these coaches are. What were you looking for when you were putting together this staff?
Well, the best thing about this group is that half of them I've either coached against or coached with, so I know what kind of men they are first, and I know how much they care about these kids, and I know their passion for the game. And so I knew today when I walked out here that those guys were going to do a great job. And then the carryover coaches who were from the previous staff, outstanding men, outstanding coaches. There's a reason they're still here. So when you blend 8 to 10 people together, it's exciting, and you could feel the energy, and then it carries over to the kids and them having excitement as well. So you're absolutely right. I've worked with these guys, and then the ones that I've been with for these 2 months, they've done an outstanding job as well. So I think we got a great staff. I really am pleased with everything.
Coach, obviously this ASU team has been known for the dirty blue defense and what they've been able to do over the past few seasons. How do you as a defensive head coach come in and create a new atmosphere that you want to have, but also keeping that same kind of rich tradition of a strong defense here at Albany State?
Well, the one thing that I know is that as a person that studies and understands things and from a historical standpoint, that if it's not broke, don't try to fix it. So the mindset, the attitude that some of these guys who were on that defense before, you let them be them, but the only thing you do is you just tweak it, and that's where Coach Hilliard and Coach McIlvain and Coach Harris will put their stamp on it. But it's not a matter of saying that we're coming into a situation where we had to fix anything. This has been a great program, and I said it from the first day, and I continue to say it. Coach Gray created a great culture here, and all we got to do is just help sustain that and take it to another level.
Some of the quarterbacks talking about that culture and family here. What are some of those pros of having such an experienced quarterback room?
Well, I think it's a great opportunity for these guys to challenge each other every day. And then it makes me feel better because, when everybody talked about Isaiah Knowles leaving, which outstanding quarterback, he proved it for 3 years here, you felt good because those other guys had game experience. They were in games and they helped win ball games. And Izzy, my man, did a great job against Newberry. So I really feel good with that room. And then the addition of J.D. Davis, it just adds another flavor to it. And this is college football, so we know we're probably going to get another 1 or 2 quarterbacks to go in there because you just got to. And like they told you, the word around here is going to be competition. You got to have it. Won't everybody get comfortable? I don't even want to be comfortable. So we got to get competition in here. And those kids embrace that because they're champions. And that's why they won last year and they went deep in the playoffs, because they accept the challenge of competition.
Coach, you kind of answered my next question there about the competition, not only in the quarterback room, but also every level of the defense, every position on offense. What is that message to them that your job is not necessarily safe? Like, you got to go out and earn it every day.
Right, and it's not even a matter of like you're trying to make somebody lose their job, but what I want them to understand is that when you transfer this into life, and people come into your office and they come into your meeting space, you're going to have to be competitive all the time. You can't get too comfortable. It goes back once again to the slogan, I'm grateful, but I'm not entitled. So I think that you're absolutely right. Across the board, we're going to get the numbers up. A.D. Kelly and President Scott have got my back on understanding that we want to push these numbers to another level because you got to be able to compete. Because it's a whole change now with this transfer portal. And when we came in, and I remember that first team meeting, it was 42 guys in there. My heart was racing. I said, 42 guys on a football team right now, but we were able to get some good recruiting in, and we got our numbers up to about 78, and then we're going to get that freshman class, which is a great Southwest Georgia class. We're just going to keep pushing, and these guys understand we're going to get some more bodies in here that can compete and keep elevating this game.
I know Aaron probably wants to ask about that recruiting class that you're talking about.
I'm really excited about it. I like that you talked about staying in Southwest Georgia. You stayed true to your word. I think it was 28 just from around here.
Yes,
really excited about the linebacking core that you went and attacked.
Yes.
We spoke about some of those names. Just talk about that particular group as a whole. It could be the linebackers, just the 2026 class as a whole. What you're most excited about?
Well, I think the linebacking situation, it was by accident, to be honest, because I kept watching, and I was like, I like this one. So I'd offer him. And then I said, I like this one. And then I offered him. And the next thing you know, I'm like, man, I'm about to sign 8 of them. But there's not one of them I wouldn't take. And then some of them are big body guys, and they could eventually move to maybe defensive ends and things of that nature. And then also, I'm pleased with the defensive line. So when you got Double D and Weeks, the good thing about them is next year, they'll take those freshmen under their wing, and they'll help develop them. Jimmy with the linebacking group and Evan Williams. So what I wanted to make sure I did is go get good young football players that can learn and be developed by guys who've been successful. So when you looked at that recruiting class and you see it's strong this year defense, because what came back on offense, it was really address the quarterback position to keep the competition there. The receiving core is going to be more of this summer. Y'all will see some of those guys. There are going to be some transfers that come in this summer. But the defense, I really wanted to make sure those guys came into camp in this summer and they learned from Jimmy, they learned from Evan, they learned from Double D, and they learned from Weeks, because those are 4 good football players right there. I've been impressed with those guys from day one, and they're not the only ones, so I don't want to just be name dropping. But what I do know is when I see guys that do a great job, I want to let them be acknowledged. And those 4 guys defensively, I'm really pleased with.
Yeah, some really great guys. And you just talk about Jimmy and Evan, the South Georgia connection they're going to have with those guys. I know it's certainly going to be special. But, Coach, I want to ask you the same thing that I asked the quarterbacks. Obviously, first day of spring practice, but spring game in a few weeks. Between now and then, what do you want to see the most improved on, or what are you looking for when we get to that spring game here in a few weeks?
I want to make sure that when people come out here, they want to see a staff and they want to see a bunch of players that pay attention to detail and that are giving great effort and really enjoying being around each other and competing with each other. Because this game right here is hard, so you got to love it and you got to have fun while you're playing it. And that's what I want people to see, attention to detail, and that these guys are working hard and having fun.
Sounds good to me. I'm excited for it. I can't wait to be there.
Our first one-on-one interview with Coach Bowser. I'm excited to see what ASU has in store for you, Coach. Thank you so much for joining us.
No,
Thanks,
thank
Coach.
you all for coming out.
Appreciate
it. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Right.
Awesome, Coach. Appreciate you.
Thank y'all so much.
Something that Coach Bowser made clear to us when he took this job is that he was going to recruit South Georgia, and he upheld to what he said, Aaron.
Yeah, he sure did. We're talking about a class 2026 that had more than 30 signees, 28 of them coming from Georgia, 25 of them, I believe it was, 25 of them coming from South Georgia.
Yep.
It's crazy. 18 of them alone coming from Albany. It's. I think he stayed true to his word. That opening press conference when he said he wants to keep the South Georgia talent in South Georgia, I think he couldn't have started a better way. He went out, he recruited heavily around the schools around here, the guys that we are seeing play every Friday night, and now we're getting a chance to see them play on Saturday, and I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited about that. 19 of those defensive players, and I mean the list, a very long list like Aaron said, but some guys that really stick out to me so far is Kalen Humbert out of Thomasville, Nigel Pittman, Thomasville as well, Keon Thomas from the Good Life City in Monroe. Then you got Jimmy Jones. I think we're all very excited for him from Early County. Chance Sims. I'm super excited for him as well.
I'm going to start with Chance. You talk about Chance, not just Chance. The linebacking core that he went out and got from a couple from Lee County,
Jordan Lassiter, Jalen Carolina.
The linebacking core I thought was really, really exciting. I'm looking at them, I'm like playmakers, and they all do kind of different things. You have Chance who can get to the quarterback as a linebacker, but also get sideline to sideline. You have Jordan Lassiter who was dominant in Westover's defense, and you have Jalen Carolina who started at Monroe, made a name for himself, goes to Lee County, and he was all over the field on that Trojans defense. I love what they did with the linebacking core, specifically here in South Georgia. But you mentioned Jimmy Jones. I think he has the chance to be a high-level power forward guy. I really do. His body type, he's going to get into a college weight room, into a college program, put some weight on him. He's 6'5", 215. If he gets up to 230, 235, this is a guy that can run. He's athletic. We see him jump out of the gym in basketball, and he's absolutely dominant. I expect him to do big things in this Dirty Blue defense.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see him play here. We got to see him play actually at Albany State a few weeks ago in the region tournament basketball, but to see him on the football field, I can't wait to see that. And out of those 34 guys, 19 of them were defense.
Yeah, it speaks to that tradition of the Dirty Blue D, right? We're going to focus. It's a defensive-minded head coach. And even when Quinn Gray was here, even though he was an offensive-minded guy, that defense still stood. And so now we get a defensive-minded coach in Coach Bowser. He's going to make sure that defense is sound, and then they can work on the offense. And I think with this recruiting class, it speaks to that. It's special. I love the fact that some of these guys that we know could play are getting the opportunity to play here and make a name for themselves, and I'm really, really excited for it. Nigel Pittman, you mentioned on offense. I think that could be a special playmaker on offense. I'm excited for him as well.
We've had a lot of Thomasville guys who have voted well here at ASU, so he's going to keep that tradition going.
Yeah, we might get to. I mean, we'll talk obviously about them kind of through the season. We had conversations earlier about new captains who played out and down in Thomasville, and that I think speaks to the type of players that we are producing. And I say we, but South Georgia is producing.
Yeah, you even heard Coach Kelly over there talking to Ricky Fulton, talking about that's not what you learned at Thomasville. Like, we expect more. They expect a lot out of these Thomasville guys, and rightfully so.
Yeah, I mean, they win championships. They're making deep playoff runs. They're being coached at the highest level by those high school coaches, and they expect that when they step foot here at ASU.
Yeah, we're getting a little far ahead, but I mean, we're excited. We got some new recruits coming in. Then we look at the schedule for this 2026 season. They start on the road, but they open it up at FAMU, and I don't know how much more excited I could be for that.
I think that game is just going to be a ton of fun. And regardless of the outcome, obviously we have some ties to both sides. We got a lot of guys that went with Coach Quinn Gray down to FAMU. But I know Coach Bowser's going to want that one to say, hey, man, I'm here. Last year when they played FAMU, it was the homecoming of Quinn Gray.
Yeah.
This year he's there.
He's actually home.
And I'm excited for that one. Of course, Isaiah Knowles there, some other guys. So, I'm really excited for that one.
Yeah.
There's no better way to start your season, though.
No, for sure. I mean, he's starting the season off in a big way. We go to FAMU week 1, and then we're traveling to Ohio for the Black College Football Hall of Fame to take on his old team in the Johnson C. Smith Golden Bears.
Yeah, I think that's a really cool opportunity for ASU, and we've seen some of these opportunities. They've traveled to New York over the past couple of years for the Legacy games or whatever, and now getting an opportunity to go to where his roots come from or where he was at is a good opportunity for him, again, to stamp kind of his spot here at ASU and say, hey, I'm here now, and I'm trying to make a name for myself.
I think I said Golden Bears. They're definitely the Golden Bulls, okay? And then after we go there, there's four-game road trip to start off the season.
Yeah, they spend a lot of time away from the Good Life City, which is unfortunate because it means we won't get to see them as much. But
we're going to be at FAMU, though.
I do. Yeah, we will definitely be there. I do think it's a good test
for sure
to get some road games. It also eliminates maybe some of the distraction, and not that they're going to have a bunch of distraction around them, but anytime you have a new regime, fans can get impatient. There could be a lot of noise surrounding the program. This will allow Coach to bond with his team, his guys, go out on the road, and hopefully start to establish a culture that when they do come back home, it'll be worth it, and they'll have something to celebrate.
No, I think that bonding piece is a lot of what people don't really think about. And it's something Coach Gray and I talked about this past season. Although down the stretch they were at home a bunch, they started off on the road, and he talked about how the guys get to bond together, and then having a new head coach, it should bode well for this team.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I think the schedule is a tough schedule, but I think it's warranted for a team that's coming off of their deepest run. They need to be tested, and it's going to show the true character and grit of this team, and I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, their first home game will be September 26th, and then you got Lane for homecoming, and they take on Clark and Benedict here, so that'll definitely be fun.
And then the Fountain City Classic, obviously, down at Fort Valley will be a good time.
Battle of the blue and gold, but we know who the real blue and gold is.
We sure do.
We're just getting started here, though, at spring practice. This is day 1 of 12. Some important dates to put on your calendar, though. We have April 12th, which will be the spring game at 9 a.m. And then we also have April 8th, scrimmage. That'll be the spring scrimmage. And then April 18th will be the spring game here at 2 o'clock p.m.
That'll be fun. You'll get to see the first action, really. A lot of competitiveness, guys vying for spots and positions, and kind of setting the standard for what the summer's going to look like. And guys are either going to find out they need work and they need to start getting their stuff together, or guys that are going to find themselves solidified in the starting lineup, and I think that's a cool thing.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where we'll be come that week, because we'll definitely be here at the Coliseum bringing you all that coverage. But that just wraps up day 1.
It was fun. This is going to be a daily thing now, not here, but
I wish you could be here every day. I'd love that.
That would be fun. But we are excited to bring sports coverage every single day, a variety of topics, and hopefully we can do more things like this in the future.
Yeah. I'm Morgan Jackson. He's Aaron Bukes, and we'll see you guys tomorrow night back here at 7:30 p.m.